Hello everybody, Paul Ducklin from Sophos Naked Security, back for another week's Naked Security live talk. Let's get straight on with it. Today's topic, as you can see, is don't let digital jokes turn into digital disasters. And in a way, it's sort of a fun story, but nevertheless with a serious side. So the reason I thought this would be fun but useful to talk about is that the sort of fun Friday news for today, we published it today. This has become pretty big and amusing news all around the world in the last day or so. That's the article that we've got on Naked Security. It's basically a little story about how the whitehouse.gov website, they decided, hey, let's put a job ad, a secret job ad, a subliminal job ad if you like, in the White House website, so that people are a little bit technical and go looking, say, at the HTML code. Well, in there they put an HTML comment that you wouldn't normally see if you were just browsing to the site. You'd have to want to go looking. And in there was, hey, why not apply for a job at USDS, which is the US Digital Service. Now, I'm not American, so it seems sort of like a sort of modern day US, domestic US Peace Corps tour of duty that you do, that is designed to, for the digital world, and that their motto is using design and technology to deliver better services to the American people. So you get the idea. It's so that, say, newly minted computer scientists, instead of rushing off straight into the commercial world, maybe they can give a little bit of their time up front, building stuff in the public sector, because anyone who's ever worked in or with the public sector in pretty much any country knows that it's pretty hard to compete with the private sector, with the commercial sector. It's pretty difficult to seem as cool as a big Silicon Valley company where everyone's doing the latest and greatest thing, when the government or the public service, if you ask a lot of people, what do the government do with computers? A lot of people will still say, oh, it's all about COBOL. I want something cooler than that. So this was obviously an attempt. Let's have a little subliminal recruitment drive. It's all good, clean fun. In fact, if you go to the USDS homepage, they have one of these little jokes on their website. This is their unofficial motto. It's named after an alumna from a few years ago from USDS. They actually have this in the comment. You probably can't see that too clearly. It's sort of ASCII art. It's Molly the Crab. It's their unofficial motto. So that, again, if you just go to the website, you won't see that because it doesn't appear in the actual rendered HTML code. It's just there as a comment for people who want to go and look. Now, this kind of thing that's embedded in websites or apps or wherever it is in technology, this kind of thing has been going on for years. They're known as Easter eggs for obvious reasons. If you're a parent and you've ever run an Easter egg hunt for your kids when Easter comes around, you know what the idea is. You go in your garden, you scatter some presumably, hopefully, foil-wrapped chocolate eggs around, and then everyone knows that there are eggs out there. Everyone knows it's meant to be fun. You find them, you're allowed to eat them. Hopefully you haven't got any left over that didn't get found from the year before. And everyone knows the eggs are out there. They're not meant to be secrets. They're meant to be found, and it's meant to be all, a bit of good, clean fun. And there's a great history of this. Microsoft Excel 97, for example, it had the Easter egg inside that. That was an app. So it was a serious business app, and it actually had, believe it or not, its Easter egg was a flight simulator. And by a wacky combination of mouse movements and keystrokes, you could get to fly around. Word 97 didn't have a flight simulator. It had a pinball game in it. Others, for those of you who played the original Tetris way back in the day, that was the other way around. That was a game that had an Easter egg that was a business app in it. You won't see this very clearly, but that's a very old sort of Lotus, old text mode Lotus 123 type spreadsheet. That was a more devious sort of Easter egg, actually. You hit Control B, B for boss, and the idea is something that looked at least vaguely like a spreadsheet popped up over the Tetris game you were playing, and the idea was you popped it up very quickly when you saw your boss on the horizon, because it was meant to hide the fact you're playing games on work time. Because in those days there were no, in DOS, you know, that you didn't have separate windows, you couldn't just tab to another window. And to this day, in fact, even the latest version, I tried it last night on Microsoft Edge for Linux, the very latest version, that has a sort of open secret in it, which is, you know, because you use Edge for surfing the internet, right? If you type the special URL edge://surf, you actually get the Microsoft Edge surfing game. There are 3 different games to choose from. So, very simply put, and just to keep this nice and brief, the idea of these Easter eggs that you put in software code, that you put on websites, or that, you know, you put in stuff that you're presenting, it's meant to be good, clean fun, perhaps with a little bit of a serious side. And to be honest, embedding Easter eggs in apps, serious apps that you ship as a compiled program, that it's kind of fallen out of fashion for obvious reasons, because it doesn't, to be honest, doesn't set a very good look from a cybersecurity point of view. If you've got this secret hidden code that the developers put in there as a joke, well, what else might they have put in? How come nobody noticed? Did it get tested properly? Do you get support for it? Do you get patches for it? So Easter eggs in programs that you buy, they're kind of dying out. But on the web, like the thing that you can see now on whitehouse.gov or on usds.gov, it's all good, clean fun. And the serious side is, clearly they wanted to attract people to apply to jobs rather than just maybe rushing into the commercial sector. So you might think, why do we need to have a Naked Security Live video to tell the story? Well, the real deal is that the way this has unfolded, the fact that this was on this job ad, after being on the White House site for just a few hours, somebody noticed and thought, oh, that's a cute story. So it was published in the media, and then more people wrote about it. And it wasn't too serious. And it, you know, so everyone was reading about it. Everybody knew about it. In fact, within 48 hours, the USDS, it was a job application URL. They'd obviously, I guess, they'd had so many job applications already, more than they planned for perhaps, that they now just have, the link doesn't go to the job app directly to the job application page anymore, just goes to the USDS site. So it just goes to show that things that you put, even though you intend people to find them eventually, but they're supposed to have a bit of secret fun, that once somebody finds them, you have to assume that the whole world knows about it. And I think you know where I'm going with this. The problem that you need to be wary of is that there are still people out there, companies out there, website developers out there, login portal makers out there who think that it's possible to keep secrets simply by hiding them in plain sight. So in this case, in the whitehouse.gov site case, it was a kind of secret, in air quotes if you like, that was sort of hidden, but that people were supposed to find and have fun with. Now imagine that you're actually putting something that you're trying to hide, in air quotes, but really is a secret, like a hard-coded password, a backdoor encryption key, or something in your product that you think, you know what, it's really convenient to have this thing squirreled away. Nobody will notice. It's a trade secret. Therefore, we'll use it to keep something data that is actually meant to be preserved as a secret, in particular something like a cryptographic key or a password. So the point of this video, folks, is very, very simple. It's just to remind you that while it's okay to have pseudo-secrets that you hide away in the hope that people will find them and have a good little bit of fun doing that, whether it's in your application or your website, it's not acceptable to do it the other way around, where you have a real secret and you figure, I'll just hide it away, and as long as nobody notices, it'll all be right. And if you're a regular reader of Naked Security, you'll know that we wrote recently and spoke in a recent episode of the Naked Security podcast about a company that makes network products, router products, who that happened to them by mistake, we think. Obviously some developer had created an account, They were going to use it for some kind of automatic updating. Presumably while they were developing and testing, it was just convenient to use a regular account, and so they had a username, and they set a password that worked in testing, and guess what? That account and the password got left behind in the firmware that shipped, with the result that they had a whole load of network devices out there that once someone had looked through the firmware and seen this suspicious username as text in the middle of the code, and right near it a string of characters that think, golly, that could be a password. And the researcher simply thought, well, the easiest way to find out is to try it. And when he tried it on his own device, he was able to log in and get root sysadmin access, presumably from something that was put in there that wasn't supposed to be in there. A secret that was supposed to be properly secret ended up being exposed. And you have to assume, particularly when it comes to cybercriminality, that when one person finds it, everybody knows about it. And even if that's not literally everybody knowing about it, you should at least assume that everybody who has your worst interests at heart in the cybercrime community knows about it. And exactly the same goes for things like cryptographic backdoors, where you leave a way for someone to break in an emergency, just in case you lock yourself out, or just in case something terrible happens. Don't do that, folks, because once again, the problem with trying to keep real secrets by just assuming that they're trade secrets is as soon as the trade secret escapes, the real secret escapes with it. And then you're stuck with an actively used product or technology or protocol out there with a hole in it that everybody knows about, which is the worst of both worlds. And by the way, that's why Sophos's official policy, corporate policy if you like, on encryption backdoors in products that we or anybody else makes is that you just shouldn't have them. You don't even need to go to whether there's a moral or an ethical issue with it. From a technical point of view, it's just a huge problem waiting to happen. It's a tiny little hole that's just waiting to be exposed, and therefore to turn from what may have thought to be digitally harmless into something that's a digital disaster. If you're interested, by the way, in Sophos's view on this, and you want to know how we've explained that, you can go to just go to sophos.com/nobackdoors, and you can read our explanation of why we think backdoors are deliberately built into products, why they actually do nobody any good, and worse, they may actually benefit the crooks more than the very people that they're trying to protect. So thanks for listening, everybody. If you did find, or you have gone looking for that USDS, the secret crab logo, and you found it, if you're in Firefox, by the way, just go to the page, and then when you've got the page open, hit Control-U, which will show you the HTML source code, and you'll find out how they do it. That's good, clean fun. Just make sure that when it comes to protecting your customers or your products or your company's secrets online, that you don't use this approach of putting them where somebody might find them and then everyone might therefore know about them forevermore. So thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, stay secure.